Whoa, whoa, whoa. What up, people? What up, what up, what up? YAK, Chicago's finest. Coming at you again, man, with some of these true tales, people. Let's get it. Early 90s. That's when we signed our first deal. Mob Style Records. It just got real, Moving to Cali, gotta leave right away. Loaded up the 85 Blazer, left the next day. Waterboard, Riverside, popping no those all the way. I was so excited, drove the whole trip in 3 days. A young papa making a better way for my little papa's baby mama pregnant. Number 3, I can't stop her. Gotta take my shot, baby. I got to go. Chasing the ass as I go over, peeking out the window. I know it sound cold, but the dice they got rolled. Kissing my boys in college on this McDonald's. Working over the door, it just wasn't to me. My lyrics was too nice, my flow was too mean. Never but in my brain, had to be my family. We were thriller before it easy to back. No one can handle me. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. I said I'm leaving. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. I said I'm leaving. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. I said I'm leaving. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. Man, don't know where to start talking about Cali. Riverside, Hollywood, my green, no mountain. Love it, the home of the long tall salad. Slim Beach money, they make me so happy. Very young man at the time, signed the prime. First chance I got up with brothers. Man, lives got acquainted with blood. Started chilling with blood. Cash flow, that's my folks. R.I.P. much love for my dogs. Still down the ride for the cause with no hesitation. All they take is one phone call. And the boys with them big balls come and tear down your walls. With them choppers, they drop the coppers. Bring your fight to a stall. Bring your run to a brawl. We have been through it all, Joe. I'm going back to Cali and I'm leaving tomorrow. I said I'm leaving. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. I said I'm leaving. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. I said I'm leaving. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. I said I'm leaving. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. Much love with my mom style brothers to the world blow up. That will be done up with fresh OGG bug, silk, gas, flow, baby fresh. You don't want none of them. Romeo and CEO, man, the monsters is here. Malika and drama record shot covers of beer. Big rope and gold fingers hanging out the tracks. Body low right here, where we bringing it back. I remember that night, that shit with pink Cadillac. We was rapping standing on the bar, brand new track. Matter of fact, I see the roots roll and drop that day. Performed it that night. R.I.P. don't play after the show. Got approached by J. Prince, rap a lot, records, man, we was so tan. Walked out to the place and grabbed the team and popped it in. Said, yo, it's good. We been rocking ever since now I'm leaving. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. I said I'm leaving. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. I said I'm leaving. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. I said I'm leaving. I'm going back to Cali. 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 I said I'm leaving. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. I said I'm leaving. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. I said I'm leaving. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. Whoa. What it do, people? What it do? Man.
YAK, Chicago's finest, baby. Like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. Man, how everybody doing this evening? Man, I was sitting up with the wife. You know what I mean? We're just talking about how different places look. We was looking at a little volcano on the television. You know, vision. Dig? Man, saying how different places look. And I'm just sitting back thinking about like all the places I done drove through, you know what I mean, different states that I've like been in. And man, I always said the beautifulest state that I saw was Colorado. I was coming through Colorado, driving through there, man, and just how you see the red dirt, how the mountains and you know what I mean, the cuts and the crevices of the mountains and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, man, it's beautiful how they got the different dips for the water coming through the mountains right in the middle of the highway. You know what I mean? It's like, man, it's so different and beautiful. If you like especially if you from like the East Coast, the Midwest, you don't see stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's real, man. All the way, it's a whole different look. You know what I mean? It's a whole different dynamic. But I always said it like, man, you can tell that it's a higher power. You can tell that stuff was not man-made. It was not man-created. I always describe it as like the way I saw it from my vision. Man, John Shab, salute, bro. Man, what it do? Appreciate you tapping in with me, man. Man, how I always visioned it from my perspective was like, it looked like, just imagine some clay, a big thing of clay, and like a man just taking his hand and like smoothing it out and guiding it and right to what he visualized it to be. That's how I could always describe it. That's what it looked like to me, like somebody just took their hand and just created it and shaped it and formed it how they wanted to shape it and form it. You know what I mean? That's that was the way I could describe it from my perspective. But I was like, man, that was a beautiful state visually. But then on the flip side of that, we was riding through that same state, and we wound up parking the stand and just, you know what I mean, observing stuff that was around us. So we got back on the road in the evening time. It was going, you know what I mean, after midnight. I would say after midnight. But we wound up, me and my brother, man, and mind you, we some shorties, man. We young boys, man. We 19, maybe 20-ish. I can't remember the exact age, but I was a young boy, you know what I mean? And I can remember this one. We was on Dead E, man. We had an 85 Blazer, grand black Blazer with the big kicker box in the back, banging out, rocking out with music. But we pull into this gas station. It was like a service station / place you could sit down and go in there and eat. It would remind you of like a diner. It had like a diner feel to it. But man, as soon as we walked in, it's like everything stopped and went in slow motion, man. It was like, you know, when you walk in a place and you can tell you're not supposed to be there. So it's like, man, me and my bro, we like, you know what I mean? Everybody like stop talking. Nigga, like the roaches on the wall stop fucking moving. Everything. It was like, man, we like, all right, shit. Damn. Let's go in here. Went in real peaceful, you know what I mean? Still speaking. But we wound up ordering a sub. It was a Subway inside of there before we paid for our gas. So we moving around. I think my brother went to the bathroom, the restroom or something. We wound up ordering the sub. And we get out to the car, and we just gonna pump the gas from the outside. Cause you pump first, and then you go back in and pay. So we just gonna pump the gas, man, open the sandwich up. Excuse this being graphic. But they put human feces on our sandwich. Literally put human feces on our sandwich, man. And it was like, we like, whoa, ready to snap, ready to spaz out, ready to go lose it. And then reality hit. We are in a place with deserts out here, mountains out here. And mind you, when I walked in, why I say it seemed like everything stopped. You could tell these white people did not fuck with Negroes at all. Black people were not living peacefully in these secluded areas, if you understand what I'm saying, you know? So it was like, man, we threw the shit on out, man. And my bro, like, man, chill out, Yak, man, chill. Let's get up out of here. You know what I mean? And mind you, we are on dead E, right? We are driving on fumes. And I can't remember the exact mileage that it was, but to get to the next service station, but it was in that 2.5 miles, 3 miles, or something like that to get to the next service station. And we on dead E. And I tell you, like, man, how we made it to the next service station, that wasn't nothing but the man upstairs. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. You know, I've been in some positions, man, where a lot of things could have happened to us, man, because we was young. We was young and we was just out there, man, going state to state, city to city, different environments that I wasn't from, that I had never seen, that I had never even, you know what I mean, had any type of dealings with anybody from there, you know what I mean? But we went. We were so young and focused on chasing this dream of ours. We put ourselves in some precarious situations, to say the least, you know? Good day, man. Rain. Good day. Appreciate you tapping in. You know what I mean? So, man, they wind up doing that to our sandwich, man, with some of the nastiest shit you could possibly think of. But reality hit us like, man, we're in an area where they could easily snag our ass up, take us up in these mountains, take us up in these, you know what I mean, up in this. It's nothing but as far as the eyes can see, just desert. You know what I mean? So it was like, man, my bro's like, man, yeah, get in the truck, man. Let's just get up out of here. So we wound up leaving because, man, you could have easily been. And I watch a lot of these docu-series. I watch a lot of that, you know what I mean, criminal investigation stuff where people come up missing, where people come up where your body is not found. That was one of those situations I was in. You know what I mean? Because when we walked in, and man, I don't have a racist bone in my body. I'm a very proud black man, but I'm not a racist black man. But I'm also very vigilant and aware of how people interact with other people. You know what I mean? So it was like, man, that was one of the places. It was a beautiful state from the eyes, from your vision, your visual perspective, beautiful state. But the undertone of that state was, we could have been two young black men buried out there in that motherfucking desert somewhere, and nobody knew where to find us. Nobody knew where to start looking, and nobody even knew that we would have been missing. You know what I mean? So I was like, man, that was a position I had put myself in, you know what I mean, early on. And that's when I start really understanding it is a higher power. Whatever you might believe in, whatever your religion or whatever, that was the only thing that got us up out of there safely. That was the only thing that got us to that next service station, man. It was 2.5, 3.5 miles or something to the next service station, and we was on fumes. We were riding on nothing but fumes at that point, but we made it to the next service station, man. And it's like, excuse me, man, but people need to be aware, man. And I was so blind to the fact at that young, because I had too much courage for my own good, and certain things didn't even matter to me. I was blind to the fact of, they say we not welcome over here, or we say y'all not welcome. I didn't pay any of that any type of mind as a shorty. But it was like, man, that was just one of the instances, man, I had myself in where, man, different states have different tones to it. You know what I mean? I have to tell my wife, I'd be like, man, there's certain places where if we walked in together, man, it's not a guarantee that we'll walk up out of there the same way we came in. And that's just a reality. And people have to be, you can't be so blind or dumb or naive to reality of this country that we live in. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I had to learn that. Through trial and error. I had to learn that through life experiences, you know? So it's like, man, I did a lot of I did a lot of traveling and moving around young, man, chasing my dream. You know what I mean? Chasing that music. But it's like, man, I went another place I was at. I was in Vancouver, Canada. Excuse me, Vancouver, Canada. Man, it was the people there were so welcoming, so open arms to you know what I mean. They were so. And I was like, damn, it just seemed like they. It almost makes you put a wall up, like damn it, extra friendly. It seemed like they too damn friendly. But the flip side of that was the way they look at black men in Vancouver. It's like, man, they love us over there. Not on no, you know what I mean, just sexual interracial shit. They have a very welcoming spirit to black men. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, man, we were like, I like about that, folks. Might hear some buzzing. And it was like, man, I had to learn about the different dynamics over there. There was a lot of like mixed breeds over there. It was like you would see a black mixed with a Chinese, black mixed with white, black mixed with Spanish. There was a lot of mixed race breeding and mixing over there. So I started understanding the dynamics of that because in certain parts of that, when they see a black man over there, they expect it was the CFL was real big over there, the football. So most of the black men you see over there at that time I went, it was the early 90s. You were either playing in the CFL or you was over there pimping. Pimping was real big in Vancouver at that time, in the part that I was at, you know what I mean? And we met some young ladies there that was like willing to work for us. And I'm like, man, I'm here on some tour shit, doing music. I'm not even here on that on that type of tip. You know what I mean? So it was like, man, it's just showing the different places that you can go and you get the different feedback, the different reactions and everything. I went another spot I went to. I was in San Antonio. I was in San Antonio. They was like, it was a what are they called? What is it? Mormons? I think they're called Mormons. It was a big Mormon community there. And it's like, luckily I always had a certain amount of respect that I carried with myself where even if somebody was totally out of their element or out of their comfort zone, if I noticed it, I would always try to do something to make them feel comfortable where they didn't feel like the lone wolf standing there like they're a total outsider. That was always a thing that I unconsciously just did, you know what I mean, for whatever reason. But I was in San Antonio, me and Mob Style Records, New Breed of Hustlers, we was there. And these are some gangbanger dudes. There's some bona fide, diehard Crips. And a couple of them, you know what I mean, had some disrespectful behavior to them at times, you know what I mean? So we was around these Mormons. And I believe it was Chiloke. And Romeo. I believe it might be. They called themselves the Vultures. That's what they called. That was their group name, the Vultures. But they had said some like some undertone racist shit. Cause they hollered at the one Caucasian female, and her reaction was like, it wasn't welcoming, you know what I mean? And they said some old racist shit. But you seen some of these big hillbilly Mormons come roll up, rightfully so, protecting this young lady's feelings / making sure these niggas ain't do nothing to it. You know what I mean? Their antennas is up. And it's like, man, they was like, man, the only reason they doing that because we black. No, that could be a part of it. But initially, the reason they did that because you disrespected that young lady because you was black and felt as though you could just do that shit because everybody's supposed to submit to gangbanging black men. Dumbass mentality, but that was the way they was thinking. So I'm trying to still smooth that over. You know what I mean? It's like, man, I try to explain to him, bro, you can't go anywhere just carrying yourself any kind of way. I learned early on, man, that you have to be multi-dimensional. You have to be able to multitask, and you have to be able to multi-conversate if you're moving around this country into different regions of this country. You know, you can't go everywhere just because you on your block in your city in your hood can say anything out your mouth. The first thing that pop in your brain come off of your tongue. You can carry yourself like that where you're from. But when you put yourself in other people's hometowns, other people's states, and etc., you don't have to be afraid. You just have to learn how to be respectable to yourself, for one, and respectable to other people. Or you can wind up violated and or dead out here. Because there's some people that will really hurt another man's, especially the opposite race. I've seen this shit firsthand. And I had to learn, like, man, early on, you got to learn how to talk to people, even if it's you got to know when to put your ego and your pride down. Because you can, man, you can die out here. You know what I mean? It's something. In some of these states, man, they will kill your ass. And Billy Joe and Billy Bob and the sheriff, all their ass was raised generation after generation together, and they're gonna make sure they good, even if they dead ass wrong. So you gotta learn how to. I learned early on, man, you have to learn how to move as a man, sometimes you have to submit a little bit. I tuck your tail and, you know what I mean, lose your manhood. Sometimes you have to learn how to submit and check your ego at the door to make sure you getting in to do what you came to do, and to make sure you get out of there safely and get you and your people home. Because a cocky ego could also put you in the graveyard, man. And I've seen a lot of racist stuff along the way. But what a lot of black men fail to realize and be honest about is a lot of us are racist as fuck too. But we always flip the mirror like it's just the white boy that was doing it. Man, there's so many racist black men out here that is crazy. But we don't even subconsciously, we don't even pay attention about the racist shit that we be doing to generate that type of energy. But it is some stone cold hillbilly ass white boys that's outright racist, you know what I mean? But it go both ways, man. And I had to learn that shit along the way. I was in Wisconsin at one time. And I had a job. I had a job at a Roy Rogers. I was working at a Roy Rogers, matter of fact. And I was like, that's when I first started like realizing like, man, I was young. I can't even remember the exact age I was, but you start seeing a lot of the white girls trying to holler at the brothers. You know what I mean? It was like, man, I'd never seen no interracial shit at this point in my life, man. But me and my guys, we wound up taking some damn white girls out. And it was, ooh, we went to the movies. And we standing in this fucking line, man, at the movie theater. And when I say the energy that was seeping off some of these men, the energy that was seeping off some of the people that's helping the customers, man, you could tell we probably shouldn't be up in here like this. And then there was a couple of them loud ass females, and they was, fuck that, we don't care how nobody, shut the fuck up. Bitch, shut the fuck up. You ain't the one gonna get violent out here. I gotta get up out of here. So you know what I mean? You gotta learn, man. You gotta learn how to carry yourself and how to be aware of where you are and your surroundings, man. And I learned that early on because I did a lot of traveling as a young buck, man. And man, I always said, man, I had so many people praying for me. And I know that's what got me out of a lot of situations, man. I had a lot of women praying for me, man, and just making sure I was in their daily and nightly prayers, man. And I know that's what got me through a lot of situations, man. And I'd have been, man, when you traveling on that road, going to these different states on that highway, man, it's a lot of people that die on the highway, man. You know what I mean? And not in car accidents. You know what I mean? Especially when you start going to that West Coast. That West Coast, man, it's a different type of mentality. It's a different type of men way of thinking. It's a lot of them that rape and kill women. That's out here tricking and prostituting on them highways. A lot of them die and be out there in the deserts and shit, never reclaimed, never looked for, never found. It's a lot of black and Spanish men that travel through there that will come up missing and nobody can find them or none of that shit because it happens. It's a real, it's real in this country. Still sections in this country where everybody's not welcome, even though it's 2022. You know what I mean? So you got to be aware. Man, I tell my wife all the time, man, you have to pay attention to everything. You don't have to look like you are just so afraid or that alert to everything. You have to have your P's and Q's on point. Your antennas always got to be alert. Your antennas got to always be working. You just got to pay attention to the people that are around you, man. Because everybody that look at you and smile, that smile could mean wait till you get your ass outside, boy. You know what I mean? It could be one of them. But I've seen it, man. But it's like, man, I'm just sitting with the wife. We were sitting watching shit. I'm like, man, I've been a lot of places, man. On the surface, those states are beautiful. But there's an undertone in some of these states, man, that is ugly, wicked, and nasty, man. It's cornfields that are used for more than growing fucking corn. And it's like, man, we have to still, even though it's, man, the new millennium, you still have to be aware of it, man, about where you're going. And you have to respect other people's territory, other people's property, other people's regions in this country. And, man, when you see that welcome mat at somebody's door, man, you need to carry yourself appropriately when you're walking up in somebody else's house. That's just being real, man. And I learned that at an early age, and that's why I'm here to be kicking 50 in the ass, because I could have easily been out of here in my early 20s, man. So, man, folks, that was just a little tap in, man. Just thinking about some of my travels, man, and how I survived it and how I made it through and how I learned so much from those my traveling days. Man, that 85 Blaze I was telling y'all about, man, we made that West Coast trip in 3 days. We came from Riverside, California, all the way to Orange Mills, Baltimore. And when we cut that damn blazer off, it never started up again. That's why I said, man, it was all God, man. It was all God that got us through that trip. It was all God that made us park in front of my sister Tanya's door before the last breath was gone in that blazer, man. When we parked it and cut that boy out, put it in gear, that boy never had another, never, that key didn't turn and make a sound after that. So, man, I always say, man, thank you, Lord, thank you, Lord, thank you, Lord. You got me through a lot of my travels, man, and I'm here to tell about it, man. So it's definitely a blessing. So, man, appreciate everybody tapping in, man. Rain, you know what I mean? John Shab, everybody who's catching on the replay. Truly appreciate it, man. So everybody, man, be safe out here, man. Like, subscribe, and share, folks. Like, subscribe, and share. YAK, Chicago's finest. Telling a little bit about my life, man, and my travels, folks. So I'll get back at y'all on the next one, all right? Holla back. Peace.